Mark 8.5 Golf GTI Edition 50 extra details. This is going to be a bit of a summary based on all the information that I've kind of shared with you. I have my in-depth video of the new Mark 8.5 Golf GTI Edition 50. Some of the things that I've been thinking about when I actually went through that in-depth, some of the things that come off the back of it, some of the things that a lot of you guys, my subscribers, viewers have commented about. And we're going to kind of summarize that in a little bit of a shorter video as well, and sort of like latest information. So I'm filming this obviously after the weekend of the Nurburgring 24 hours, and uploading this pretty much the day that I'm filming it. So let's just talk about the summary of a few things in no particular order. And you can see on screen, you can see a picture of the Tornado Red car and also the Dark Moss Green Metallic. Those are the two exclusive colours for the Edition 50. So that's a first little thing just to say. It's definitely what I would go for if I'm going for an Edition 50 personally. But obviously, if you do go for a standard colour, you can get it in white, black, and the Moonstone Grey, as well as the three others. A few things that I've noticed, and I noticed it in a bit of the wording, and I'm going to start in no particular order. They mentioned R Performance exhaust, which, as we know, is the Krapovich titanium back box, so it makes the car 11 kilos lighter, essentially, and it changes the sound, the pitch. It's done by Krapovich. They've been making exhausts for ages. It's very premium. They use it on Lamborghini Uruses. I mean, it's pretty much full on. But the wording that says R Performance just got me thinking of what that means. Now, that comes as an optional part of the performance pack, and it just makes it perhaps a bit more R, a bit more racy. And with the naming that they've given that, it's intentional, R Performance exhaust. They could have called it a GTI Performance exhaust. Is because a few people spotted that the R logo is still on the wheels. That's the Varmanor wheels, also lightweight. And the R logo has remained as part of that package. So perhaps they're sort of almost saying, we're going to turn the GTI into the R, a bit more serious with the performance pack. Just my kind of thinking and my kind of like reflections on seeing that and seeing your comments afterwards. It could also be that it could be quite a lot to engineer the GTI logo in the Varmanor wheels. I'm not too sure, but interested to know your thoughts, and please do get involved in the comments. They're so useful, and I find them so interesting as well. And it also might help with your process as well, whether or not you're interested in Edition 50. I've already had a few people reach out to me about it. One person specifically ordering one, so that's or seemingly ordering one, so that's. And actually, to be fair, quite a few. So yeah, get involved in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts about this car and your reflections too. Going through it further, as I've got all the sort of videos on screen of the Tornado Red, and as much as I can kind of share as well with the Dark Moss Green Metallic. I noticed that there's the black rear badge is in black, like the black pack. The gloss black roof and the gloss black door mirrors, which incidentally would normally be part of a black pack. It looks like that comes as standard, but the difference compared to a normal black back car, the red stripe remains, and it does not look like you can delete that. Now, that is going to be done by design. I was actually chatting on Instagram to Andreas Mint, who works for Volkswagen, and he's just like, I've spent a bit of time with him in the past. He's a brilliant designer. And I love kind of where his kind of passion and vision is going with VW, to be honest with you. It would be intentional. That's my kind of feeling. And I'd prefer it. That's subjective to me. I prefer it with the heritage of a GTI red front badge. I've seen a lot of the black packs without that deleted, as you might have seen on my channel. I've filmed all those GTIs, as you can probably check out from other subscribers. I like it. They've also, as a few people noticed, the GTI lettering on the side of the doors, the large lettering, which was a little bit controversial, has now been deleted. Again, potentially intentional. Well, definitely intentional. They're trying to get that design back, and all these little details just show how much they care. And that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, look at them. They're really giving it a good go, and they're looking at those minute details, which make up a whole package. And I really, really like it. The subtle side stripes as well with interchanging colours. So they recognise based on the colour that it's on. So you saw the Tornado Red, and the bottom side stripe is in black. But if you look at the Dark Moss Green Metallic, it's in red. So they're recognising what works with what and how the colours blend together. They're thinking of the extra details. The red rubber pedals, exclusive to the 50, which I showed. So that really gets me into touch with the feel when you use it, because you are going to get a different feel when you use the brake and use the accelerator because of the feel. It's all about the feel. and what you're touching and using. For example, the steering wheel is slightly different with the GTI 50. It's just a bit of a reminder. You can see the GTI 50. You can see it in the door mirror as well, as I mentioned in the in-depth video, just on the side. And it's like, if you know, you know. And I love that little bit about it. It's the little subtle touches to remind you. And if you know, you know. So, I mean, I'm excited that they're making this car, and I really want to get up close and personal with it. I'll be honest with you. I wanted to be in Germany. I wanted to be alongside that dark moss green metallic one. A few German YouTubers, I believe, got the opportunity to do that, and my subscribers are so. I couldn't believe this. After I posted that video, and obviously it's a VW type channel. To be honest with you, check it out if you like your VW bits. Check out other content. They did send me footage. I have a German subscriber who's in Germany. He sent me some great footage of the unveiling for a YouTube short video that I shared. Another one I know in the UK lives nearby me. He was over there and he said, "Oh, Sam, I can get you some footage." And he sent that across. So I just love it. It's really bringing that community back with the car. So thank you so much to them. Yeah, and on that black roof and the door mirrors and on black and the rear badge, I believe that's standard. It didn't really tell me that that's part of a pack. I believe that's how they want to come as standard as factory. I also like the flare with the red seat belts, but I also liked how these can be changed. It mentioned if you go for some sort of proactive passenger assist thing, it has to be a different color. So basically, you can choose to suit you. I quite like the red seat belts, but might not be for everyone. The whole car to me looks not too in your face, but has enough distinctive parts to stand out. And like the Edition 50 on the wing, a few people were like, "Oh, that." I think one person commented saying the 50, the O is or the 0 is slightly wonky because of the kind of dynamics shape of the wing. That's just how it is. I actually think it works. I don't, it's quite nice to not have it completely flush. And again, stands out in a subtle way. Talking about the more power to 325 PS, but which is 8 PS down on the R. Again, I wondered if this was part of marketing, and it was a big reason why I haven't or didn't buy a Club Sport Edition 40 10 years ago, because they essentially reduced the power of that car to 261 brake horsepower, and only on overboost was it 286, and that was basically to make sure it didn't step on the toes of the R. So I always like to go for the best of the best. That's just subjective to me. So for me, that's why I went for my manual Golf R, my 3-door back in 2017, the Mark 7 generation, because it was like, oh yeah, we don't want to make it too good. With this, it's only 8 PS down, which is very small. Bear in mind that the power's actually gone up by 25 PS anyway. And the fact that it's got a less weight, there's no, that's the reason why it set a better Nurburgring lap record. And that was in the slightly damp conditions too. So for me, although there's sort of maybe on paper showing that it's 8 PS down and, you're not 333, you're 325, I think in reality, it's not that far off. It's better, arguably, than the standard R. That's where we're at now. I like how they're bringing back the heritage. There was so much chat about the GTIs. There was so much chat about the history of Volkswagen. That's what it's all about. The GTI has huge amounts of history, and it's what I love as well. I mean, more history, for example, than the R, but more history than a lot of other manufacturers as well out there. So I love how they're rising that back to the table, because that's the brand image. If you mention GTI to even a non-car person, they generally do think of Golf. It's one of those. Talking about the performance package, for me, subjectively, I think it's a must package to go for. That's with the Akrapovic exhaust, the Varmanor wheels, but not only that, it's another 5mm lower. So making it 20mm lower than a normal Golf, basically. So a standard, if you just go without the performance package, it's only 15mm lower. With the performance package, it's 20mm lower. On top of that, you obviously get the less weight because of the wheels and the exhaust, but you also get the setup changes, which I think is really, really big. Being able to change the camber by 2 degrees makes a big difference. They mentioned about the pivot bearings. They mentioned about double shear hub carriers on the rear to reduce understeer. These are things specific to the performance package to make it more direct. This car has been tested with all of those parts together so much. The engineering, the testing that goes into it is huge from a global manufacturer like Volkswagen. This is not like, a random performance, outlet in your back garden or in your garage at your local sort of like industrial park. This is big global stuff, and it's tested really, really well. I think go for the performance package. I would almost argue the performance package has probably gone around the Nurburgring more so than the standard edition 50. I'm just saying. I love how it's ready to go in 2026. That's what they said, and as the production build will be in 2025. So basically, they're going to start building it this year, and it's going to be in time for customers in 2026. The extra details that I heard from Benny on a video actually on Misha's channel with the dark moss green metallic car. Benny actually lost weight himself for the lap, because that does make a difference. Every kilo counts. So fair play to that. He also mentioned he moved the rear seats forward to help with the center of gravity. And you might be thinking, oh, no chance. It genuinely will. Those rear seats, the back bolsters, are going to be pretty strong, pretty sturdy, and also potentially pretty heavy because of safety regulations and because, it's supporting all different sizes and shapes of people. So by actually moving that forward, it almost certainly does. And when you're thinking about those millimetric details, makes me realize they're really, really taking care and making a great car. I love this car. I think it's wonderful. I think, bravo VW, and I'm grateful to have been given that information early, to be able to have shared it to you guys on the Friday. I just love it, and I'm curious to know if you feel the same, basically, because I'd love to share more. And if you do like it, subscribe to the channel and like the video, and you'll get to see more. That's kind of how it works. And so as I said, all these small changes adding up to make a big difference. They care. They're not holding back over the R. I loved even the details. They mentioned the start numbers of the team members in the N24 were 19 and 76. And this was done intentionally to represent the 1976 first Golf GTI. It was no coincidence. So that's really, really cool. I also like the fact that the non-performance packaged car is softer and not as serious. So you get to choose, make it bespoke to you. If you want a softer car for road driving, the non-performance package is going to be softer because it's going to have a slightly raised ride height. It's not going to be 20mm lower. It's only going to be 15mm lower. The suspension and the setup, all these little changes, the DCC, everything has been changed. The differential lock, it was going into everything. The vehicle dynamics manager, everything has been changed for the Edition 50. And a lot with the performance package as well. So you can choose to what suits you, basically. And I like that. I love that. I've always loved that about Volkswagen with the individual mode in the settings as well. When you choose between different modes, like whether you're in comfort or sport or whatever, you can have an individual setting, and not all manufacturers do that. VW have done. I've mentioned about all of that. I've written all this down, by the way, so I'm reading all my notes from watching my own video back, basically. I mentioned, so with the performance package, they spoke about adaptive suspension mounts, the Bridgestone tires, the semi-slicks, which are just insane. The exhaust, the weights of the wheels, all the testing that goes involved. The total 30 kilograms lighter, which is fair play in a world with, where weight is just high because of rules and regulations in 2025, 2026. And a lot of that is unsprung as well, so it's at the wheels, so it will really, really affect the way the car drives. I loved how every little thing seemed to be specific to the Edition 50. Like even the progressive steering, which is in other models, is adapted specifically for the Edition 50 and comes as standard. The front differential lock, the electronic differential lock, is specifically adapted to the Edition 50 via the Vehicle Dynamics Manager, which is cool. The same with the DCC. The gearbox in S+, the Sport Plus profile, the S Plus in manual mode, it will change the brake pressure of it. And it'll also basically, so again, it's a lot with the feel specific to the Edition 50, and how it will then hit the rev limiter if it needs to, which Benny did on his lap, which he spoke about, which he needed to set the time. Because sometimes you'll hit a corner and it's no point in changing down, you'll lose speed. So you're better off actually bouncing off the rev limiter a tiny bit and then continuing. I liked, again, how, as my understanding, although I haven't got specific specs, as soon as I get any more details, you'll see it on this channel if you want to see more on it. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you like the car, you're certainly curious. So, get involved. And yeah, the more you support it, the more better quality information I'm going to get to share. I have a great relationship with Volkswagen UK, and I'd love for that to expand as much as I can. Like, I'd love to go out to Germany. I would have loved to been out there with the other sort of creators too. So yeah, support is just massive, and thank you so much for the support so far. So what I understand as standard is the 19-inch Queenstown wheels must be a standard. That's my thinking, with those red glazed inserts. I don't know if that's an option for those inserts, and I'm sure you can remove them if you wanted to. I'm not too sure. I liked how like the GTI on the rim, so the center hubcaps, seems to be a standard, and it remains level from every angle. I like that. It's the little touches that you're getting, and you can kind of see it on the move. I mentioned about the 50 on the mirrors, which is cool. And the steering wheel, it's what you touch and feel. So that's all my sort of like extra details that I could possibly think of the GTI Edition 50. I hope you found this useful. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I'm really, anything else that you guys have spotted, let me know, or let us all know in the comments, and we can get involved and discuss it further. But I'm super excited that this car is coming out. I want to know more. As soon as I know more, I will share as much as I can of this super fantastic car. And if you're ordering one, let us know in the comments too, because you can order it. That's what my understanding is. I've spoken to a Volkswagen, someone I know who has a dealership in the South Coast in the UK, in England, and he's able to sort of take those kind of like initial early requests, make sure that you can get potentially one of the early ones. So yeah, super exciting, super cool. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.